Well, let me first greet you and thank you for coming today. My name is Joseph Evans, and I serve presently as the chair for the Mount Vernon Triangle Community Improvement District. And let me thank the Wilkes Company for being our host in this beautiful new property here at the Lyric. And as you can see, not only do they have a spacious view of the city, you also note that there are a lot of cranes in the air in the Mount Vernon Triangle that certainly indicates that we are part of the economic engine of the city of Washington, and we are very pleased and thankful for that. So I welcome you here today, and I believe the mayor is on his way, and Charles Allen, and I see that ANC leader in Marge Masadia, and she's here, and other dignitaries and board members, perhaps residents and others. I see that Charles actually is here. Hey, Charles, how you doing, buddy? Good, good. Save some donuts for us back there. All right, man, all right. All right. But I hope that you're comfortable. The weather has changed, hasn't it? You know, yesterday it was nice and warm, and today someone told me they drove down from Baltimore. It was 68 or 79 degrees this morning. That's about an hour if you can, get here. And I understand that when they hit the district, it was about 55 degrees. So you told me that. Amen. All right. So, but it's still a beautiful day. And I would encourage you just to take a little walk around and check out the pool and so forth. But for now, I'd like to approve the minutes from the board members that are present. We need to approve the minutes for the annual meeting and a previous meeting. And so I would like to move and adopt. Would you do that? It's been moved. Properly seconded. Thank you. All those are you prepared to vote? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. The ayes seem to have it, and so I want to thank you there. This is a special meeting for us because it is our 10th year in existence as a community improvement district, which is uniquely different, as you know, from other entities that oftentimes is called a business improvement district. Our founders were unique in calling it a community improvement district precisely to create a community. So we tried to do a mixture of business, but also you and I who live here have a community or a neighborhood. Now, some years ago, this obviously didn't look this way. Those of you who have lived in Washington for any period of time knows that this has been a reinvention of the Mount Vernon Triangle, and it took unique persons, a lot of collaborations, and people coming together to make this happen. And I can tell you 10 years ago, this was a different place. And so we are very proud of the progress that we are making by keeping a balance between community and people from different origins and backgrounds, different socioeconomic statuses. We work with our community policing. I see some of them here today. Thank you for being here. They have been very much a part of helping us to turn or transform, I think is the best word. This is a transformative community. It has its own ethos. I'll just simply say it this way. The residents of the Mount Vernon Triangle, for whatever reason, they just simply get it. It's not something that we have to explain. People are attracted to this neighborhood precisely because the worldview here, or what we intend to happen is that everyone is welcome. And we're very, very proud of that. So I just wanted you to know there are a lot of investments going on here financially, and we're thankful for that. And we believe that, for example, the K Street streetscape cannot be overstated. And we believe that that is very, very important. So I want you to encourage all of our stakeholders, whether they are elected officials or perhaps they are investors. Maybe it's you. Maybe you're the person that can go downtown and say, we want our streetscape to happen yesterday because it will be significant for the continuing success for the Mount Vernon Triangle. And in just a little while, you will be meeting some of the members for our ambassadors, formerly known as the Clean Team. Today we're taking the word clean team out of your lexicon, take it out of your dictionary. It no longer exists here. What we call our people, they are ambassadors. They are the best people to represent us. And we see them every day. They're professional. They're led by Leon Johnson, who's here somewhere. And so there Leon's over there. And so we want you to know that the group of men and sometimes women that are in our green, they are our ambassadors. And so we'll hear more about that in just a moment. But now I would like to introduce our president and our leader in the person of Claire Olekshak. She has been with us, I think, about a year. I don't know. But what I do know is that she is extremely gifted and committed. She has vision, and she's leading us well into our future. And I want you to join me in giving our leader in the person that we call her Claire O over here. She's Claire O, and we want you to welcome Claire O. Would you do that, please?
Thank you, Dr. Evans, and good morning. I'd like to echo Dr. Evans' statements and welcome all of you here today. It's so nice to look out and see so many different members of our community gathered together. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank our executive committee, Dr. Evans, Guy Stewart, Mandy Whedon, Burke Shervin, and Ivory Tolson, as well as our entire board of directors for all of the work they do. I also need to recognize and thank our staff. They are smart, effective, and we could not do this work without them. So thank you to Leon Johnson, Jerome Raymond, Karen Widmeyer, and Fan Jiang, our newest intern, as well as our Clean and Safe team members. Our 8-member clean team, or as Dr. Evans said, what we're now referring to them as our ambassador team, is responsible for keeping the neighborhood clean, well-maintained, being a presence to deter crime, as well as acting as ambassadors to residents, workers, and visitors. The members come to us from Central Union's Mission Ready to Work Job Readiness and Training Program. We also are able to support this crew through a grant from the Department of Small and Local Business. Without that grant, we would not be able to provide as many jobs or provide as high level of service. So thank you to the district government for that grant. In 2013, September 2013, we conducted a perception survey. And we asked, how clean do you perceive the neighborhood to be? And 78% of respondents said they perceive the neighborhood to be clean or very clean. We were very impressed. For a first-year survey, the good work that's already being noticed in the neighborhood. And as we go forward, we expect that number will continue to rise. The clean team in fiscal year 13 worked from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Starting in April 2014 of this year, we've now split the shift. So you'll now have crew members out on the streets between 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And we hope this will help more of the residents as well as the workers see their presence and see the effectiveness of the work that they do. In fiscal year 13, the crew collected 204,000 pounds of trash and about 5,000 trash bags. They removed 78 graffiti tags, 114 posters, and 128 stickers, as well as watered the tree boxes, especially the new trees that we had recently planted on K Street, as well as landscaped and cared for our park space. Thank you for everything that you guys do. I would now like to invite Leon Johnson up to present the awards to 2 of our clean team members.
Good morning. I'm very proud of the job that these guys do every day. They all deserve an award, but unfortunately we can only give 2 today. They can often be seen out in the street cutting grass, removing graffiti, or basically giving someone directions. And for that, I'm very proud of the work that they do. And I'd like to present the Outstanding Performance Award to Mr. James Shipman. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. This next award goes to an individual who exemplifies what we expect out of our ambassadors here at Mount Vernon Triangle. Though they all should be Employees of the Year because they all deserve it, we can only give out one. And this year we'd like to give that to Mr. Ronald Jacobs.
Congratulations, and thank you to all of you. So we are still waiting on the mayor to arrive. So if it's okay, we'll just continue onward and move forward to accomplishments and initiatives. On each of your chairs, as well as at the front table, is a copy of the fiscal year 13 annual report. I'm going to highlight a couple of the different accomplishments and initiatives, as well as the development dynamic we're experiencing right now. As you know, or many of you may know, Mount Vernon Triangle is a 56 city block neighborhood bounded by Mass Ave to the south, 7th Street to the west, New York Avenue to the north, and New Jersey Avenue to the east. As Dr. Evans said, this year we celebrate our 10th anniversary. This is the 10th anniversary of the Action Agenda, with the Office of Planning, DEMPED, an Alliance of Property Owners, and others, and the Downtown Bid, initiated in 2003. That set the framework for the planning, the catalytic investments that were needed, as well as got everyone aligned on the same page. And at this point, I'm going to stop for a moment because I see our mayor has arrived, so perfect timing to transition to him.
So it's my privilege and assignment today to introduce our mayor. The mayor really doesn't need an introduction. So maybe we should present the mayor. I think I'll do it this way. I know the mayor pretty well, and I will tell you that no one works harder, no one works longer, no one knows you more personally than most folks who seek elected office that I've met over the years. As you may know, as a senior pastor of a church downtown, I get to know a lot of them up close and intimate. But I'll just use this word. I know him as a man of integrity, and it should not be questioned. I will tell you that. I would like to introduce to you the mayor of the city in the person of the Venerable Honorable Vincent Gray.
Well, good morning, everybody. This was an interesting way to get up to the top. We took the elevator to 14, and we took the steps up. It's a well-kept secret to be able to get up here. I want to, first of all, thank Dr. Evans for his leadership on so many fronts in the District of Columbia. Certainly is one of our distinguished clergy leaders here in the District of Columbia. I want to express my appreciation to him for his leadership and his commitment to our city. I suspect many of you have been to Mount Carmel, and you know what an extraordinary house of worship it is, and in substantial part because of the leadership that Dr. Evans is providing there. Claire, I want to congratulate you on the leadership that you're providing to the Mount Vernon Triangle CID, rather than a BID, right? Community Investment, I'll call it corporation. It's not quite right, but I want to thank you for your leadership, and all the others, the board members who have committed themselves. And if I start calling names, I will leave somebody out. So let me say, and everybody who is working to be able to make Mount Vernon a better place. I also want to extend my congratulations to the Clean and Safe team, as well as today's award winners. The team is actually funded in substantial part by our Department of Small, Local, and Business, Small Local Business Development, DSLBD. And don't they do a great job helping to keep our community looking great? Now, that was really polite. Can't you all do better than that for these folks over here? You know, I come through this area. I actually grew up not far from here. I grew up at 6th and L Northeast. And I used to, when I was a kid, which is, of course, not yesterday, I was a participant in the #2 Boys Club. It wasn't Boys and Girls Club, then it was Boys Club. And it was right here at 3rd and K Street, Northwest, which is barely a block from here. This neighborhood looks very different today than it did then, but I certainly know the area very well. And you know, on my visits through here, which now going through here one way or the other is almost daily, I recognize the work that you all are doing, and I want to thank you very much for working to keep this a place that everybody can be proud of. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, and you know, neighbors and friends, thank you so much for what you're doing to keep Mount Vernon sparkling, and I know you will continue to do that. It's also great to see a number of people who I've worked with here today. It's first of all great to see how many people have turned out for this meeting. That is an extraordinarily good sign, signaling, you know, continuing to signal the vitality of the community here. And I want to congratulate you all for that kind of investment. And I want to congratulate you on 10 years of service to the Mount Vernon community and the progress that's been made. You're a shining example of a CID, and those things that make a community better. And one of the things I think is wonderful is that you all have included not only commercial properties, but you've included the residential properties as well, which makes you quite unique and a little bit different from some of the others around the city. Because we now have, I think, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 bids, but none quite like Mount Vernon Triangle. The reality is that the Triangle is geographically and culturally the heart of our great city. When I take a look around at what's going on here, it's pretty amazing. And just look at the amenities that have come online in the last few years. Look at the convention center that we have, which is now, I don't know, 8, 10 years old itself. Our convention center really is second to none in the District of Columbia. And we ought to be immensely proud of what we've been able to do to attract additional people and additional business to the District of Columbia, because they have such a first-class convention center now in which to hold their meetings. We also should be immensely proud of what's happened with the old convention center site. That one, when it was torn down, it sat there as a parking lot. It sat there as a tennis facility for a number of years until that moved down to the waterfront, and then it kind of just sat there. And when I came along, when I came into office, there really was discussion about how we wanted to move forward with City Center, but it was completely stalled. We had nowhere to turn, we had nowhere to go, and it was one of the first projects on which we worked. And we were able to work with Qatar, which now is the biggest investor, foreign investor in the District of Columbia. And for those who don't know, Qatar is investing in City Center alone $702 million. And it was their investment that allowed us to be able to move forward with the development of City Center. We just hosted leading financial officials from Qatar about 6, 8 weeks ago. And part of the discussion was, one, around their satisfaction with where we are with the development of the City Center, but also around what happens for the rest of that site. And we have reached, I think, an agreement in principle that they're going to make an additional investment in that site, and that will be around $300 million to be able to develop a 5-star or 6-star hotel on that site. So one investor, one foreign investor, will have invested $1 billion in that particular site and the continued development of what's really at the core of the District of Columbia. One of the things about City Center that I think is among many, you know, the offices that are there, the residences that are there, the retail. And by the way, have you all seen the retail down there? About the best I can do is window shop, because it's pretty expensive. Hugo Boss and, you know, some of the other retailers that will be down there, they're wonderful to have in the city. But what I'll be doing is walking past those doors and walking past those windows and, you know, wishing those well who have the ability to go in and spend money and buy what's in those stores. But in addition to all of those amenities, what's also happened is that we've been able through this project to reconnect the grid. You know, as the old convention center was built many years ago, there were streets that were closed along the way. 10th Street was closed, I Street was closed, and this has given us an opportunity to reopen those streets so that on 10th Street you can go from north to south, all the way down to Pennsylvania, Constitution Avenue now, without having to, you know, make all kinds of turns to do that. You can go across, you know, east and west, east to west on I Street and be able to traverse areas of the city that for decades it wasn't possible to be able to do. So I think that is an additional feature that's added to the presence of City Center that we can all feel good about. And of course, the presence of the Verizon Center has been a real catalyst for downtown development on 7th Street. How many people walk down 7th Street at night? It actually is fun. It used to, you know, it wasn't that long ago, for those of us who've been around for a while, when you didn't want to go downtown because you felt like you were taking your life in your hands. But that day is long since over. 7th Street is teeming with people. And what a great, wasn't it great that this year to have a basketball team that actually made the National Basketball Association playoffs? We got to the second round for the first time since 1812. And I think frankly that we're going to have a really good basketball team next year as well. And now we have a new general manager and a new coach for the Capitals, and lots of hope there as well. And for those of you who don't know, we have 2 big college tournaments that are coming to the city in 2016 and 2017. These are NCAA events, the Atlantic Coast Conference, of which Maryland is no longer a part. They have departed and gone for the big bucks. They have gone to the Big Ten. So we're going to have the ACC basketball tournament here in the city, which is always one of the best events in the nation. And then we'll have the Big Ten the following year. The Big Ten will come to the District of Columbia to be able to play its tournament here. And all of that bespeaks the richness, the vitality of our economy here in the District of Columbia. We are doing extremely well financially in the District of Columbia, and we're doing it essentially on our own wherewithal. We now have the largest fund balance that we've had in the history of the city. And it doesn't mean either that we're not spending dollars, because we are spending money on, you know, what's needed for the District of Columbia. But we're also further buttressing, further building our financial reputation in the city. We now have a fund balance of $1,750 million, which is the largest fund balance that we have had in the history of the District of Columbia. When Anthony Williams was the mayor, we had reached $1.5 billion, and then it kind of went down precipitously in the years thereafter. And one of the things that I set out to do was to rebuild the fund balance, because I know it has such a strong impact on our financial reputation. It has a strong impact on the bond ratings that we enjoy or don't enjoy in the District of Columbia, and has a strong impact on how investors view us as an entity that is strong enough to be able to ensure that their investments will be safe here in the city. So we are at our strongest point ever, and I don't have any reason to think, but we will continue to grow in that way. There's a lot of activity going on around here. We got the Association of American Medical Colleges building, which is well on its way to completion. The NPR site is moving along well. And I think for those of you who've been here for a while, you know that this is really starting to look like a very different area than it was before. You know, one of the sources of frustration for me, and we finally had to make a move, when I came into office, there was a project, the Fifth and I project, that we had wanted to move forward with. And we had a developer that was working with us, and it just went on and on and on and on and on, and we got nowhere. And so we put out the project for bid. Had a number of developers who bid on it, and of course we now have selected somebody to move forward with the development. I'm sure, like every project, not everybody is happy with the selection that was made, but it was a responsible selection that was made. It's one that will result in a new hotel that will be built in the city. And it's also one that will result in the best financial return for the District of Columbia, and also more affordable housing than we otherwise would have gotten. Affordable housing is one of the most difficult challenges that we have in this city. And for those who have watched the rents go up or the cost of housing go up in so many areas of town, you know exactly what I am talking about. So with 60 units of affordable housing as a part of this project that will be built in areas of the city that desperately need affordable housing, this looks like a terrific deal to me. And for those who don't know, we're investing this year $187 million in affordable housing in order to be able to make sure that this continues to be a city where people can afford to live. In this budget, what's left of it, in this budget, there is an additional $100 million included in the budget, so that we will have almost $300 million being invested in affordable housing. And frankly, that is the real test and measure of a city. And that is, will we be able to make the kind of investments and the kind of commitments that will allow those people who may not be financially well-heeled to continue to live in the District of Columbia. And I don't think any of us, and I'll speak for myself, I certainly don't want to look up one day and say that there are people who now have to leave the District of Columbia because they no longer can afford to live in a city that is doing so much better but hasn't found a way to accommodate all the people who may be challenged financially and economically in ways that they otherwise would. Last thing I'll mention is the streetscape project. We were out here, where did Dr. Evans go? It was last June, right? Last June. That was a hot day too, wasn't it? But it was a fun day. It was a fun day to see the completion of what was a $7 million investment on the K Street streetscape. I know it's a project that you all had long awaited, those who live here and those who do business in Mount Vernon Square and Mount Vernon Triangle. What it in fact did is created new sidewalks, it's created new street lights, it's created new green areas, and frankly, given a kind of a new feel to this area out here. And of course, I think we had the collapse of a building a few weeks ago. I'm not sure what precipitated that, but we'll get past that. That won't define what the area is. The reality is that the Triangle is booming, and I don't think K Street has ever looked better. I do have to make one other comment, and that is, and I've got to get all the details on it, but I'm a big proponent of the streetcar program. I don't know whether you are or you aren't. You know, if you aren't, that's fine. You're entitled to your views. And those who are, good, you're entitled to your views too. And I think we may have seen the end of our streetcar program with the actions that were taken yesterday. And I think if that's what this turns out to be, and it could be, because 78% of the money was moved in another direction, I think that will be a real blow to the District of Columbia. We are a growing, thriving, developing population in the District of Columbia. We have 647,000 people who now live in this city. We are adding somewhere between 1,000 and 1,200 people a month to this population. And two things. We have got to have alternative methods of moving people around because we already see the gridlock out here with automobiles. How many more automobiles can we handle in the District of Columbia before somebody just boils over and acts out as a result of that experience? The streetcars are a great way, alternative method of moving people around the District of Columbia. And what other cities have seen, and I've been there to see it, they are a great economic development tool. For those who want to know about the streetcars and what they can do, just go to Portland. Just go and see what Portland has done over the last 12 to 14 years with a streetcar system. They have added somewhere between $3.5 and $4 billion of development as a result of their streetcar system. They had an area called the Pearl District, which when at its worst was actually worse than any area in the District of Columbia. Go there now and see what's happening. And if we end the streetcar program, which I think is a huge mistake, we will have said to people that we don't want this as an alternative method of transportation, and we don't want the economic development that can be generated as a result of that. And both of those, individually and collectively, are huge mistakes, in my opinion. We will get the best information. We'll put out, our views on this. There may be people who have other views, and you are entitled to that. But if you do, I think you ought to stand up and say exactly why you believe that streetcars are not a good thing here in the District of Columbia. I don't know how many of you have been around long enough to know that we used to have streetcars in the District of Columbia. I have. This was many years ago. Different kind of streetcar today. We now own 5. We're waiting for Portland to deliver the 6th. But a different kind of streetcar program than we had back in the day. What is the future of the streetcar program in the District of Columbia? As of this moment, I really can't tell you. But I hope that this doesn't sound the death knell for something that was going to be a major addition to this city, where those who live here would have had an alternative method of transportation, where they would have been able to get around not only by bicycles or automobiles or bus or metro, but also by a conveyance that really is a pleasant way to be able to move around. I rode the system in Portland, and when I got on, it was actually literally nobody was on there. So I got a chance from the beginning of the line to the other end of the line to interact with a lot of people. And it really is a neighbor-friendly method of transportation to get people around. I was riding on a streetcar with the person who's the president of the company, the streetcar company, in Portland. And we were standing there because we didn't sit down because all the seats were taken. And so this lady heard this conversation that we were having, and she turned around to the guy that was with me and said, "Are you with the streetcar company?" And I said, "Here it comes now, boy." And, now we're going to get an earful. And you can see the anxiety on the guy's face and hear it in his voice. He said, "Yes, ma'am, I am." And she said, "I just want to tell you this. I want to thank you for bringing the streetcars to my neighborhood finally, because I love the streetcar and I'm happy to ride it, and it's been a nice addition to our city." So I don't know how you feel. I don't know what, how vocal you want to be about your sentiments, but if you feel strongly about the streetcars, then you need to stand up and say it. You need to say that this is an important addition to the District of Columbia, and we're not going to simply sit by and stand by and let this be flushed down the tubes. I won't say down the commode. So I want to again thank you all very much. I want to congratulate you on your 10th anniversary, and I want to thank all of you for coming out. It's meetings like this that send a powerful message to this entire city, especially to this community, that the District of Columbia is alive and well. We are growing. I don't know how many of you have seen our rankings cards that demonstrate how others outside of the District of Columbia feel about us. But we have been ranked, I think it's by well, I'm not going to say who, because I won't make it wrong. But we've been ranked by one national publication as having the #1 economy in the United States at this point. We have been ranked as the #1 new tech hotspot in the nation. And we are at the top, in the top 5 of so many other cities at this stage. And we need to work to sustain that. It is organizations like this, it is communities like this that allow us to do that. So thank you all very much for having me, and happy 10th anniversary.
Thank you very much, Mayor Gray. We appreciate you being here today. Thank you. If you'd like to stay, we do have a reserved seat for you here. So back to our map. So we are 56 blocks, as I was saying. And as Mayor Gray so eloquently put it, we have seen tremendous mixed-use growth and development, while also retaining a very unique identity and authenticity in this neighborhood. And we're very proud of that, and that's something that's very important to us. We want to maintain that as we go forward. Right now, there are 1.7 million square feet of office, 3,691 residential units existing and under construction. We also have over 40 restaurants and retail within our neighborhood. This past semester, we worked with the University of the District of Columbia, Professor Amanda Huron, and her GIS mapping class to visually convey some of these changes that we've seen in the neighborhood. So they put together a very compelling map that showed in 2005 the built sites that we had in the neighborhood. The majority of these, 3 of these, are affordable housing sites that we still have today. What they then did is they fast forwarded and they went to 2014 and layered on top of that the built environment we have today. We think this is a very powerful image to just show how much has happened in the last 10 years. Today, when we release the annual report, we have a number of areas that we're very proud of, and I'll go through some of the highlights. The first one is safer streets. We work very closely with the Metropolitan Police Department and support their efforts to keep the neighborhood safe. In fiscal year 13, we also participated in the reimbursable detail program, which added 2 officers on Friday and Saturday night from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. In fiscal year 13, our already low crime rate decreased even more by 19%, and we were the bid or CID with the lowest crime rate in the city. The Mount Vernon Triangle also strives to interact in a very productive way with those who are homeless in our community. In fiscal year 13, there was an increase in the number of homeless at Cobb Park, and many of the residents who had security concerns gathered the district officials, reps from the mayor's office, Pathways to Housing, the CID, as well as MPD, and developed a plan to improve safety and security, as well as increase the level of services for the homeless. This is going to be an ongoing issue, as chronic homelessness and affordable housing are citywide topics, and we plan to remain engaged in those. K Street Streetscape was completed about a year ago. It was June 1st when the ribbon cutting happened. $7 million investment that has completely transformed K Street into a main street. 50-foot sidewalks, beautiful outdoor landscaping, and what we like to now refer to as a town plaza at the 5th and K intersection. In 2014, we hope to continue these initiatives around public realm and transportation. We've applied for the Playable Art Grant with the district government, which would bring art and play structures to the neighborhood along K Street. We're hoping to have an announcement coming out shortly to be selected as one of the neighborhoods for this project. Thank you to the kids in the Triangle, our board member Stan Burgess, Marge Messina, and a number of residents and businesses that wrote letters of support for this application. Marketing, communication, and economic development are an important part of our work program. We strive to bring attention from the media as well as the business community to the unique attributes in this neighborhood. We also hope that through our economic development efforts, we're attracting more businesses and more residents and more workers here. In fiscal year 13, we began work on a new website and a new logo. We sought feedback from many of you in this room. We had an online survey. We did direct interviews. The marketing committee played a big role in this. And at the end, we released the new website, which we hope is responding to your comments about being easier to navigate, find information, more graphically visual, as well as we launched the new logo, which is the first time since 2014 that the logo had been changed. The idea was to have a bold and colorful logo that reflected the new sophistication of the neighborhood. Also, with the great work of our team, we have seen an increase in the reach of our communication efforts. We've had over a 59% increase in Facebook, 105% increase in Twitter followers, as well as our electronic newsletter has almost tripled the number of people receiving it. This has also been a very strong year with media coverage. We had 241 media articles since August when I came on board. And part of this is from all the good work that you're doing, and the media is covering all the wonderful openings and developments that are happening. Last Saturday, we had a feature in the Washington Post for the Where We Live section, and there's been a number of Business Journal articles as well. Community building is important for us. In fiscal year 13, some of our initiatives included participating in the National Building Museum's Building of the Future mini golf course. I hope many of you were able to attend. It was a very fun event. The picture on the far left. We also had neighborhood cleanup days. There was the K Street ribbon cutting. And then we also supported the addition of a new colorful mural at the Capitol View Hostel by an Argentinian artist called Ever. Moving into this year, we expanded the Fall Festival last October with, of course, the annual pet costume parade, but also we added a children's trick-or-treating and dress-up day. There was crafts, there was Zumba, there was music. We also continued the photos with Santa. And then, starting June 7th, we're pleased to announce that Fresh Farms is going to be bringing a market to the 5th and K Plaza. I'm going to conclude with a list of some of the developments that's occurred and what's in the pipeline going forward. Our building openings this year have included the Lyric, which is the building we're in right now with the beautiful views, 234 apartment units and 9,000 square feet of retail, as well as the Association of American Medical Colleges, which opened on May 19th, bringing 600 plus employees to the neighborhood, in a 273,000 square foot office building with 14,000 square feet of retail. Adding to our 40-plus retail offerings, we had 7 openings this year. We had Alba Osteria, Le Pan, who provided us the breakfast this morning, Silo, Solid Core, which is a fitness business, I Street Cellars, Wells Fargo, and just announced is Texas de Brazil, which will be a steakhouse taking over the Buddha Bar space on Massachusetts Avenue. Under construction right now includes M Flats, which is the building next door, 233 apartments with 6,500 square feet of retail. Meridian 2, which you can see behind you, which is 393 apartment units. 460 New York Avenue, which is 63 condos. And 601 Mass Ave, which is Boston Properties building where old NPR building sat. Arnold & Porter law firm will be the lead tenant for that building. They also have 18,000 square feet of retail on the ground floor. Looking forward, there are 3 announcements that has happened that we're very excited about. The first one is the apartment building at 4th and L Street. They'll be bringing 133 apartment units and 68,000 square feet of retail. 5th and I Street, which Peebles and Walker has been awarded by the district government, will bring us 198 hotel rooms, 59 condos, and 52,000 square feet of retail, as well as an investment in the 2 National Park Service parks, Reservation 72 and 74, right at that intersection of Mass, I, and 5th Street. And then lastly, 501 K Street, which was a Stewart investment property, has now teamed up with Boston Properties and is putting forth plans for a 492 square foot office building with 18,000 square feet of retail. Overall, it's been a very exciting year and a half, and as you can see, there's been tremendous momentum and energy in Mount Vernon Triangle. The CID, the residents, businesses, churches, property owners, and other stakeholders have made significant progress towards achieving the vision of the neighborhood that was established 10 years ago in the 2003 Action Agenda. Thank you for all you have done, and I look forward to working with you to continue the neighborhood's success in the years ahead.
I told you Claire was really good. Let's give her a hand. Equally important to our organization is the persons that are stewards over the finances. And we could not have someone that is more qualified, someone that is more capable than Mandy Wheaton. Mandy's going to come and she's going to share with us our financial report. And Mandy, I'm thanking you in advance for all that you do for us. Let's give her a hand.
Good morning. So Guy Stewart has been stewarding the treasurer role for the CID for a number of years now, and he's traveling, so I'm going to give you a brief overview of the financial statements. We'll start with our audited statements in the annual report. So what's important when we look at this is essentially what our cash position is for the CID. That's both for our operations and for our reserves. So if you're looking at the page, and the audited financial statements are as of September 30, 2013, the end of fiscal year 2013. So it's important to note this was almost 9 months ago. But 9 months ago, we had unrestricted cash of $228,000. That was cash in the bank that could be used for operations or as we saw fit for the initiatives that we're working on. The CID works to maintain a balance of at least 3 months of operating expenses. You'll see there's a couple things to note on the financial statements. In 2012, we used a cash basis, for the financial statements. Because I can't see you. There you go. In 2013, we switched to an accrual basis. So in September, as of September 30th, 2013, we had sent out the tax billing statements for that cycle. So we have an accounts receivable balance on the financial statements reflecting that $227,000. The switch to the accrual basis for accounting more accurately reflects, we believe, according to GAAP standards, what the financial position of the CID was at that point in time. The auditor's report came back clean, and the CID is in good financial condition, and that continues to be in good financial condition. So I'll just talk briefly about the current state of the finances. So we have April 2014 financial statements. Again, what's important to note is our cash balance, and as of the end of April, we had $404,000 in the bank. That was split between operating cash and reserves. So a test for how the rest of the year the CID will perform is, as of April 30th, we had 5 months left of operations for the fiscal year, and the CID expenses run about $60,000 a month. So assuming we collect no more income for the fiscal year, with $400,000 in cash, we still have an excess of cash available to operate. We do have income that we will collect for the remaining 5 years, so we're both protected on the downside, and we have good income coming for the rest of the fiscal year. So the CID, again, continues to be in strong financial position. Can I answer any questions? Does anybody have anything on the financials? Thank you.
Thank you. I'll do the honors of introducing Burke Shervin, who's going to be presenting our awards today.
Good morning, everyone. This is a fun part of the agenda. Each year, the CID recognizes an individual in our community who, through leadership, has improved our neighborhood. And this year, we'd like to recognize Miss Gina Schaefer, who is here with us. Gina and her wonderful staff at Ace Hardware have created a very special place on 5th Street. Since opening in 2008, 5th Street Ace Hardware has become the go-to place in Mount Vernon Triangle and the surrounding neighborhoods for not only every possible item you could need for your home, but for a positive customer experience, helpful hand, free insight and tips, and of course the all-important milk bone for the furry customers. Ace Hardware also produces and hosts a number of signature events, including Ladies' Nights and Dog Adoption Days. The store animates the sidewalks with plants and displays, and this is important. You can find Ace Hardware at every Mount Vernon Triangle community event. They donate supplies, staff, their wonderful popcorn machine, and other resources to help make that event successful. We're very grateful for that. Gina, along with her husband, Mark Friedman, are the owners of 9 Ace Hardware stores in Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, Maryland. As a member of the Ace Hardware Cooperative, Ms. Schaefer has harnessed the buying power that enables small independent hardware stores to compete with the big boxes. Gina used to work for several technology companies in Northern Virginia and Bethesda, but always wanted to open her own business. Sensing a retail void in the district, Gina responded to the demand for building and home improvement supplies by opening up her community-based stores. Gina serves as a board member for House of Ruth, as well as Think Local First DC. She's a corporate advisory board member for Jubilee Jobs, does great work on that front. Her corporate duties at Ace Hardware include serving on the board of directors, and she was previously a steering committee member for Progressive Ace Leaders. Gina, you have been an innovative force in this community. We are so grateful for all of your hard work and all of your contributions to the Triangle. So this year, the Mount Vernon Triangle Community Improvement District is pleased to present Gina Schaefer, owner of 5th Street Ace Hardware, with our 2014 Public Service Award for Outstanding Leadership and Dedication to the Community. Gina?
Thank you. Thank you.
One additional item, a very important one. We have a member of our board and executive committee, Ms. Mandy Whedon, who will be departing us this year after 6 years of dedicated service to the Mount Vernon Community Improvement District. Mandy, it's been an honor to serve on this board with you. Mandy has helped guide us through a search effort that resulted in the very successful selection of Claire as our CID president. And Mandy has also chaired the marketing committee for the CID and led the extraordinary effort that has resulted in a re-energized marketing program for the Triangle. This has included, as Claire mentioned earlier, the development of a new logo, a redesigned website, and countless, truly countless other initiatives that have helped to promote the Mount Vernon Triangle neighborhood. Always calm, measured, thoughtful. Your contributions to the organization have been invaluable. We're going to miss you. Please come up.
Now I'd like to conclude with asking Ivory Tolson to please join us to present the election for our new board of directors. We've elected a slate of candidates for a three-year term, and it looks like we actually have a helper as well to join us to announce these results. Come on up.
All right, good morning. It's my pleasure to welcome new board members. We had 55% of potential votes cast today. 100% of the slate of candidates were selected, and I will announce them. First is Mr. Todd Dingle, who's the executive president of Mark Park. Mr. Jimmy Dodson, project manager of Paradigm Companies. Mr. Stephen Rodiger, vice president of Kettler. Mr. Matthew Shannon, the owner of Champion Awards. Ms. Tara Coley, the board president of Madrigal Lofts. Mr. Steve Boyle, managing director of Edens. Dr. James Terrell, the Reverend of Second Baptist Church. And finally, Mr. Peter Otini, who's the vice president of Boston Properties. Please help me welcome our board.
We want to thank you. Let me say hi, Gina. Gina, you deserve that award. I know you do. We work very closely with you at Mount Carmel Church, and I try my best to go over and get everything I can from your store. And I urge everybody who needs something from hardware to go to Gina's store. I see Mr. Shannon here, who's a board member, and I go to his trophy shop. Go to his trophy shop and support here in the Triangle. And I can't say enough about Mandy. Mandy and I work very closely together, and most of the things that I do not know, which are a lot of things, Mandy knows how to help me, and I'm going to miss Mandy as she goes on to fulfill other obligations, both as a wife, a mother, and a very capable businesswoman. So we're going to miss you. Again, thank all of you for coming, and you don't have to leave. I don't know what I'm supposed to say now except see y'all later.